Good morning. Good morning this morning. Good morning, people of God. Good morning, world, this morning. Good morning, people. This morning, on our 9 for 9 this morning, we want to talk about this thing right here. And welcome to our 9 for 9 with me, Pastor Carzadean of Rhema Christian Fellowship Ministries, right here in beautiful Savannah, Georgia. I'm so glad to know that trouble doesn't last always. Let's talk about this. I know, aren't you glad? Trouble don't last always. There was a song that came out many years ago. I'm so glad trouble don't last always. And we would sing that thing and sing that thing. And many times we found ourselves talking about that very subject in our homes, in our conversations. Trouble. What is this thing called trouble? And we're so glad it doesn't last always. Trouble. Hard times, hardships, times that don't make you feel comfortable, times that aggravate you, hard times, troubled times. Well, you know what? It seems like we're living in some seriously troubled times right now. Many of us are going through some things. Listen, now, we're going through some things now that we won't be going through forever. We won't be going through them very long. Aren't you glad trouble don't last always? And as an educator, I know it's trouble doesn't last always, but I'm so glad trouble don't last always. Many of us have been through some things already that we've divided, we've conquered, so we're not going through those things now. Listen, those very things that come to trouble you, even in your sleep sometimes, they're going to go bye-bye soon and very soon. I don't know about you, but I'm going to say it again. I'm so glad that trouble don't last always. Aren't you glad? We're experiencing some times now in our lives in this world. I'm going to say the world at large is dealing with some things. And if you think about that thing, you know, at some point, it seems like this country was dealing with things and that country was dealing with things. And us here in this United States of America, we just thought we were sitting pretty and not really dealing with a whole lot of stuff. But listen, many of the things that each country was going through, if we can look at it that way, even, wow, the different hemispheres, even the different continents, were going through different issues and situations and troubles. And many of the troubles that one was going through, the other didn't know about. Oh my goodness, what is really going on? Aren't you glad troubles don't last always? We're experiencing some times now where globally we're all dealing with the same things, the same issues, the same troubles. But I'm here to tell the world, trouble won't last always. You know why? First of all, this world isn't going to last always. So you'd better get ready and stay ready to deal with some things that are going to help us to come up and to come out. So glad to know that trouble don't last always. When we think back to the how it was and the mere fact of how it is now, some of us are scared to even blink. Well, I tell you, God didn't give us the spirit of fear. Aren't you glad those troubles you're dealing with won't last always? You know, when we talk about this global issue of COVID-19, global issue of hunger and starvation, global issue of people killing people, global issue. See, this thing is widespread. And you know, me and my mom used to sit around and talk sometimes about how the times are now opposed to as they were then. But then we would say this thing. I'd say, Mama, you know, the way we're looking at the children now, the world now, the way kids act now, I'm sure you all were looking at us like, what is wrong with our children? So you see that thing continues. And I'm sure their parents, our grandparents and great-grandparents were looking at our parents like, what is wrong with the world? What is wrong? You see, this thing is global. It's widespread because sin is global and widespread. It doesn't choose, pick and choose. It's not picky. It's not choosy. It's not, I'm going to get you and not get you. But I tell you what is widespread and good for us. God's love, God's protection, God's covering is widespread. Oh my goodness. Let me just share this with you. Oh, wow. One of my favorite scriptures, Psalms 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? You've heard me say it before. No one and no thing. The Lord is the strength or stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Well, see, you don't have to be afraid of trouble, because trouble won't. Trouble don't. It does not. It won't be around always. Let God be the light, the joy, the strength of your salvation. You don't have to fear. Deuteronomy 31:8 says this: it is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you, oh, you've heard it before, or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. Why? Because that trouble you're in, that trouble you're going through, it's not going to last long. It's going to go away. But listen, while you're getting out of that trouble, don't get into more trouble. Oh my goodness. Senator John Lewis would say, get into good trouble. Get yourself into some good trouble. Do some good things, okay? Trouble means it shakes the water. Trouble means it causes things not to be even keel. Trouble means it's going to disrupt some things. So if you're going to disrupt something, disrupt some things in a good manner. But don't let trouble disrupt your life. Don't let trouble disrupt what you're going to do. Don't let trouble cause you to think that God is not your light and your salvation. Don't let trouble cause you to fear. Wow. Trouble doesn't last always. When we look at this thing globally, do you know what? Everybody everywhere is going through something. Everybody everywhere is dealing with something. I don't care if it's the bishop. I don't care if it's the queen. I don't care if it's your pastors. I don't care if it's your leaders. Everybody everywhere is dealing with something. You know what the deal is? The deal is this, that you got to know how to come through. You got to know how to depend on God to be what He is calling you to be. You got to know how to stand, and having done all, to do what? To stand. Wow. Job 5:11 says this: He sets on high those who are lowly, and those who mourn are lifted to safety. We're dealing with a lot of trouble that's causing some mourning right now. COVID-19 is a trouble. Not wearing masks is a trouble. For some of us, I guess, because most of us, many of us don't want to do it. Many of us don't want to be vaccinated. Oh yes, I'm going there for just a moment this morning because we're almost out of time. But listen, this is my opinion. This is my thought. You can't hold Facebook to my thoughts and my opinions, but you can hold this, that I pray, that I continuously trust God. And He says with all our getting, to get understanding. So for those of you who choose not to be vaccinated, think about those who you're around, who you're putting in harm's way, who you're causing some danger. I just want you to think about it. Nobody can make you get vaccinated, but then just go ahead. Stay to yourself. Wear your mask or leave people alone. We lost a couple, a married couple recently, a husband and wife, who chose not to be vaccinated. We don't know why. We don't know their thoughts, but we do pray that they had their peace with the Father. That's our main concern. Make sure that in the midst of COVID-19 and the troubles of this world, that you made your decision. You decided to follow Jesus. It's not about the government. It's not about this. It's not about that. But all of it comes full circle back to what will cause the trouble to go away. And that's God. That's Christ. Give your life this morning. I'm so glad. Trouble don't last always, but God is eternal, and eternal life is yours for the asking. You listen. It's been good. It's been great. This has been our 9 for 9 this morning with me, Pastor Carzadean. Listen, I need you. while you're in the midst of those troubles, or those troubles are trying to come, no, you can push them aside, push them away, come on through. Hey, start it off today. Go ahead. Tell trouble, I'm not following you down that negative path, but I'm going to start off with a cup of positivity. God bless you. Until next time.